Chapter 2. The Weight of Descent. A strip of sun thread, sealed with the council's sigil, drifted through Elara's window like a reluctant messenger, hovering above her work table until she acknowledged it. She let it hang there for a long moment, watching the golden fibers pulse faintly, as if even the message understood what it carried. Finally, she reached out and broke the seal. Light unfolded into words. Report to the Lower Spire at first bell. Prepare for descent. No ceremony, no reassurance, just inevitability. Elara exhaled slowly and leaned back in her chair. Her workshop smelled of warmed stone and faint citrus oil, tools scattered across the table in careful disorder, prisms, measuring rods, coils of sun thread, and half-finished lattice models suspended in delicate frames. Once, this room felt like possibility. Now it felt like a farewell. She stood and crossed to the wide-arched window. Outside, a field guard glowed under the amber wash of evening, terraces layered like petals, banners stirring lazily, children chasing drifting motes of captured light along the walkways. They laughed as though gravity were a rumor. Elara pressed her palm against the glass. "You don't even know," she murmured. Behind her, the workshop door clicked open. "You're leaving?" She didn't turn immediately. The voice was soft, careful, familiar in a way that tightened something deep in her chest. "News travels quickly," Elara said. Footsteps approached. Lysa stopped beside her, arms folded loosely, dark curls escaping their tie as always. She wore a surveyor's sash, dusted with fine gold powder. She must have come straight from a site inspection. "You could refuse," Lysa said quietly. Elara almost smiled. "Since when does anyone refuse the council? Since when do you do what they expect?" That drew a small laugh. Elara finally turned. "They think I can fix this." "And can you?" Elara hesitated. "I don't know what's down there. No one does. We've built our whole world on stories." "Stories keep people safe," Lysa said. "Stories keep people comfortable," Elara replied. A silence settled, not uncomfortable, but heavy with things neither of them knew how to say. Lysa reached into her sash and pulled out a small object wrapped in cloth. She placed it gently on the table. "What's this?" "Insurance," Lysa said. Elara unwrapped it carefully. Inside lay a compass, old, brass, etched with faint symbols she didn't recognize. Instead of a needle, a tiny shard of crystal floated within, turning slowly. "It doesn't point north," Lysa explained. "It points toward the strongest concentration of ambient life energy. Surveyors use them near unstable foundations." Elara lifted it, watching the crystal drift. "Where did you get this?" Lysa shrugged lightly. "Borrowed." Elara raised an eyebrow. "Permanently." A quiet warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you." Lysa's gaze lingered on her. "Come back," she said simply. Elara closed her fingers around the compass. "I'll try." The Lower Spire sat at the city's edge, where the gold of a field guard faded into reinforced stone and layered wards. Few citizens came here, fewer still lingered. Wind howled through the open arches, carrying a chill that smelled faintly of rain and something older, like deep earth after a storm. Elara descended spiral stairs lit by low lanterns until the air grew heavier, pressure building subtly against her ears. At the bottom waited a platform suspended over open sky, or what passed for sky beneath the city. Below stretched a vast expanse of shifting shadow, not empty, but textured, like a living tapestry woven from dusk and mist. Slow currents moved within it, curling and folding in ways that made her eyes ache if she stared too long. So this was the Shadow Wilds. A small crew waited near a descent rig, cables of braided light anchored to a reinforced frame, humming softly with contained power. Master Thane stood beside them. "You're punctual," he said. "I assumed you wouldn't delay the end of the world for me." His face twitched, almost approval. He handed her a harness threaded with stabilizing runes. "The descent will take several hours. The tether will maintain a protective field until you reach ground level." "Tether," she repeated, comforting word. His expression sobered. "Elara, what you find below may challenge what you believe about this city, about us." She studied him. "That sounds like a warning." "It is," he said quietly. Before she could ask more, a bell tolled overhead, deep and resonant. First bell. The crew secured the harness around her shoulders and waist, fastening the luminous cable to a ring at her back. It thrummed faintly, like a held breath. Elara stepped to the platform's edge. Wind rushed upward, tugging at her clothes, whispering through the gaps in the stone. She looked out across a field guard one last time. Towers gleaming, bridges glowing softly in the early morning light. Home. "Find the anchor," Vane said, "and if you can, understand why it calls us downward." Elara nodded once. Then she stepped off. The drop stole her breath. Light surged along the tether, forming a soft halo around her as she descended through layers of cloud and shimmering haze. The city receded above, becoming a radiant crown against the pale sky. Below, the shadows thickened. The air grew colder, quieter. Time seemed to stretch, measured only by the soft hum of the descent line and the distant pulse of unseen currents moving through the gloom. She passed through drifting veils of silver mist that crackled faintly against the protective field. Strange shapes flickered far below, too distant to name. Then, hours later, the tether jolted. Elara's heart lurched. The hum faltered, just for a moment, then steadied again. She frowned, gripping the line. What was that? The shadows beneath her shifted. Something moved. Not wind, not mist. Something aware. A ripple spread through the darkness like a slow exhale. Elara's compass twitched violently in her pocket, crystals spinning. And from somewhere deep below, a faint glow answered. Not gold, not warm, but cool, like moonlight touching still water. Elara swallowed. "I think," she whispered into the vast silence, "I've arrived."